I don't think there was ever an option that we would create a business that didn't have such a positive impact on all the farmers we work with.
So Michael, welcome to The Backstory.
Thank you. I'm Michael Vachon. I'm one of two founders with my wife, Sarah. My role is largely kind of back of house, so I cover all the operations, commercial, legal, finance. My wife does all the marketing, sustainability, sourcing. She's definitely the expert on olive oil between the two of us.
Citizens of Soil, what is it and where did the idea come from?
So Citizens of Soil was kind of born out of some very close family friends of ours who live in Crete. Every year they make a very high quality olive oil. What they didn't consume themselves, they sold to the cooperative, like most other smallholder farms. If you don't have a customer for it, the cooperative is the customer. They end up getting a commodity rate for what is a very high quality product. And so you've kind of lost the traceability of that really high quality olive oil. It's getting blended in with things that are of, let's just say, dubious quality, and yet they're being paid the same as everybody else. And so you get this complete imbalance where the people who work harder are being paid less, and the people who work in a less sustainable way and squeeze the land out of its resource to get as much oil out of it are being paid more for doing so. There must be more producers like this. And it turns out there are thousands who produce extremely high quality olive oil, but are paid a commodity rate. And we try to break that system.
Citizens of Soil are on a mission to revolutionize extra virgin olive oil.
I'm not sure I can say we're trying to revolutionize oil itself. The problem is what we get as consumers is often that blended product of no traceability that is often a blend of both the good and the bad. And so we're paying a premium price for a lot of products here that don't have that level of quality and certainly don't have that traceability. In Citizen Soil, we do both. We focus on the very best quality we can find. My wife is an olive oil sommelier, and she is nothing if not high standards when it comes to the sourcing of our olive oil. We can trace everyone back to the farm where it comes from. So you've got authenticity and, above all else, quality.
So in terms of the three main elements that you are looking for in terms of your business, you've talked about regenerative farming. Mm-hmm. I'm also aware that you work with female-led farmers, is that correct? Tell me a little bit more about that.
50% of the leadership of every producer we work with is female. That kind of happened by chance to start off with, as our first producer was my friend Maria in Crete, and then we found a woman, Anna, in Portugal. A lot of the men we met said, well, I've done it the way my father did it and the way his father did it, and we've done it for generations. This is the right way of doing it. And we meet the women and say, well, I come from a place of passion and enthusiasm for olive oil and its nutritional benefits. So I did my master's in sustainable land management at the University of so-and-so, and I've done a 200-hour coursework in milling techniques. They've overeducated to basically get to the same status in the industry as many of their male counterparts who passed down from generations. When we talk to them about their practices, it is regenerative farming. It is more sustainable. It does prioritize nutrition as well as quality. It shows in the product. We're getting a better product from a lot of the women we work with because they prioritize sustainability, nutrition, and flavor equally. If we don't support women in agricultural communities, they don't have jobs there. They leave. If women leave small farming communities, those small farming communities will cease to exist.
You're doing great things at Citizens of Soil and you're really disrupting the market. When was the moment you realised that things needed to change in the olive oil industry?
You start to realise that there is a lot of bulk commodity products that we end up buying as consumers just under a variety of different brands. When you get something straight from the source, the quality is such a step above. Our customers often say, I didn't know olive oil could taste like this. Couple that with the fact that most of the producers going into those other large mass market blends aren't being paid well. We just saw such an opportunity to change the whole system. Buy directly from farmers, pay them well. Here we get a much higher quality product, and we create a premium brand that reflects that.
So you're clearly passionate about olive oil. What were the conversations that you and Sarah had in terms of deciding this was a business idea that would get backing and funding?
I said to my wife, it's great that we've worked with our friend Maria in Greece, working with her oil, paying them more, but it's still small. And I said, we can keep this small. We can go out and we can find other producers, and it can grow organically and be more than a lifestyle business, but it probably doesn't support both of us going full time. It might support her going full time, but it's going to be slow and steady. Or we can raise money. We see the opportunity here to create a premium brand in this space, one backed by authenticity and quality. We can go faster. We can find more farmers, support many more people, but it requires investment, and that comes with different challenges and responsibility also to your shareholders. And my wife said, I want to do the big one that supports more farmers. And I said, that's great. Okay, then let's go for it. And we went headstrong straight into, we're going to raise money and really grow this business as fast as we can.
So you decide to go for it, and one of the things you chose to do was apply for a startup loan through the British Business Bank.
So applying for that original startup loan was quite a process for us, given we didn't have a lot of the fundamentals in place that a business probably should. We hadn't really thought about our 3-year plan. We hadn't really thought about profitability, operations costs, marketing costs. It really forced us to put our heads down and put a business plan together, which then formed the basis of many other things we did afterwards. So that was a really useful exercise. The funding we received was fundamental in us being able to develop out those kind of proof points that showed future investors that there's something really investable in this business. So it allowed us to get the brand sorted and getting it looking the way we wanted it to look. It allowed us to start doing some initial marketing, go out and actually win some customers, win some new business, and indeed get some great PR around our brand. All those things were the first elements to be able to go attract our first larger round of funding from angel investors.
One of the things I really enjoy listening to in terms of some of the people who access startup loans is the non-financial benefits of that. So did you access any of the mentoring that was available with the program?
Every business is different, right? So even having been an entrepreneur, doing it again, you're questioning yourself, you're second guessing a lot of things you're doing. And so my wife and I we met with a lot of the other people on the same, who'd also been backed by the British Business Bank. We felt like the community aspect was really helpful for us. And just putting together some of the fundamentals, having people who've done it before, and other mentors, certainly in the food space, was really helpful for us.
So you are now balancing the passion for extra virgin olive oil and a business. What sort of conversations were you having in terms of what the win looks like?
My wife is singularly focused on how do we find more farmers, pay them more, raise up the level of both education and funding for these smallholder farms, and how do we change the whole dynamic of what it means to work with an olive oil producer. If we get 100 more farmers, nothing would make her happier. So, and the way we do that is by growing.
Running a business is lonely, but as you've just said, you're doing this with your wife, Sarah. So that process of managing the business and the relationship, how's it going?
I think having at least somebody around you can be a confidant is really helpful. I have that in my wife, Sarah, of course. Our kind of golden rule is if one of us feels strongly on something and the other just has an opinion, feels strongly wins. Mm-hmm. And being able to let go of things that someone else feels very passionate about and you only have an opinion on has probably saved us from 99.9% of arguments we could have had. We trust each other in our own lanes. And in doing so, I think that really has helped us to grow as fast as we have.
If the focus over the next 5 years is to really concentrate on that, what do you think the top 3 things are that you'll really be prioritising?
The number one thing we're prioritising is actually doing fewer things well. There's so many segments just in olive oil, let alone olive oil adjacent products, that we're trying to really, really focus on being the very best at the few things that we do. In Waitrose, we have doubled down on rate of sale every month to make sure that we are earning and growing the category on their shelf. We are founders. At the end of the day, we get distracted by all shiny things we'd love to create. Number 1, number 2, and number 3 might all still be focus, discipline, and do the things we do as well as they can be done.
So clearly you're very passionate about the industry. Why was embedding impact a non-negotiable for you both?
Any modern business should have impact baked into their business. Consumers care more about the impact of the brands that they're buying more than they ever did, and they have more access to information about those brands. So our whole story behind this business comes from our dear friend Maria, who is making this oil and making it to a high quality but not being paid for it. I don't think there was ever an option that we would create a business that didn't have such a positive impact on all the farmers we work with.
So I'm an everyday oil consumer, and how do you explain the difference to somebody like me?
If we're going to pay farmers more money for what they do, then we need to create a premium brand here. That's just the reality of it. The easiest way to convince people is taste. Taste is the thing that keeps people coming back, and we have such high loyalty when we speak to the grocers that we sell in. They also can see repeat purchase of our product. It is just a whole nother world when you try a product that is directly from the producer versus something that is a kind of largely mass market blend.
I had a look at your website, it's great, and on there I noticed you have a subscription where you have a reusable glass bottle and you can buy pouches, so clearly people are coming back. Your subscription business, I understand, is doing really well.
The subscription business is actually the fastest growing part of our business. The Olive Oil Club is a subscription service where you'll get a different oil sourced by my wife, olive oil sommelier, in a pouch delivered through your letterbox every month. It's convenient. It's £15 delivered, so it's very competitively priced, and it is sourced directly from the farms. What we're trying to educate is that an olive oil from Portugal will taste different than one from Greece, will taste different from Italy, that it has that variety in it, much like wine does, which is why in our bottles in retail, we put it in a wine bottle to try and give that same brand perception that, oh, I get it. Just like in wine, these things that come from different places will taste different.
When I speak to my friends about wine, I talk about flavour profiles. So it seems there's the same in olive oil. Who knew? Is there a simple way to explain that?
We put it in a wine bottle because we want to highlight the fact that just like wine, it has terroir, which is the concept that a place from a different soil, clues in the name, citizens of soil, different soil will lead to different flavors. And in olive oil, you've got three main kind of pillars of flavor. It's the triangle is kind of fruity, peppery, and bitter. There's either fruity and peppery and bitter, maybe in between. Bitter is quite a positive attribute. It means it's usually an earlier harvest. It can be high in polyphenols, which are the antioxidants of olive oil. But fruitiness is grassy. It's apples, pears. It can be even some tropical fruits. And then peppery is this kind of back your throat, a little bit of a kick. Fruity, peppery, and bitter is probably the easiest way to describe the variety and flavour of olive oil.
I'm actually feeling excited about olive oil for the first time ever. I don't think I've ever been excited about olive oil, so you're doing a great job.
The moment you've opened up your eyes to the fact that there can be variety in olive oil, and then you taste it and you understand the difference, that's people in our Olive Oil Club who are every month getting something different. They're discovering, they're on that journey, right? Oh, I didn't realize that South Africa makes olive oil. Well, it does. Here's one in the June box. So we're really trying to broaden out the category, both in flavor, in region, and just deepen customers' understanding of what a special ingredient it is.
Starting a business isn't for the faint-hearted. What's the one piece of advice you wish you'd known that you've discovered on your journey over the last 5 years?
We had a lot of time to research and understand it. So there was some benefit to that. But a lot of people spend too much time looking for the best moment to launch. And I think there is no best moment to launch. There's no perfect amount of money to have. That you can start at any level, and I would recommend people just get out there, even if it's 100 bottles, not 1,000, not 10,000. Start. Don't wait for that perfect moment to start, because it'll never come. We probably weren't ready when we did it, and no one's ever really ready. You just figure it out as you go along, and I think just taking that first step is the most important.
What's the biggest challenge you found when you're pitching a purpose-driven business to investors, and then how have you overcome that?
The biggest challenge is, well, how big can this really be? And people forget that olive oil is in 52% of households in the UK. It is a fundamental staple. It's just that we've been used to buying quite cheap olive oil for most everything we do. And when you understand that the varieties of flavor, you understand that there is pairings as well. Oh, this does really suit hot dishes. This does really suit cold dishes. And this is a little bit more mild, perfect for cooking. And so I think the size of the prize is huge, and the premium market is growing faster than any other segment, and we're leading the premium market. I think we've got a pretty good opportunity for investors.
So you're leading the premium market, you're clearly developing trust with your consumers, your subscriptions are going brilliantly. How have you done that? How do you keep them coming back? Because I could, once I know there are different types of olive oils, I could just then go and buy my own, but you're doing something right. What's that?
I think it's that trust piece, right? So with every pouch that goes to the letterbox, we include a card about the farmer. It says where it's from, what types of olives, who they are, their story, and we include a recipe with it as well. The feedback is, I just love knowing exactly where it comes from. And when you're buying something in the supermarket, and our products are available in Waitrose and Ocado, but the vast majority don't talk about who makes them, or where they come from, or what olives are in them, or even when it was harvested. And for us, these are fundamentals when you're looking for quality olive oil. And if you're going to pay a premium price, you want those quality credentials to go along with it.
I understand international expansion is something you're thinking about. Obviously, you and Sarah would have had many a conversation before you decided to do that. What's your plan? How are you going to scale?
The biggest premium market is the US, and both my wife and I are American, so setting up a business there was relatively straightforward. There are some challenges in getting the products approved to send over, but we're working through those, and already half of the organic unpaid traffic to our website is coming from the US, and we're just turning away that business every day. So we'd like to get the US website live, even though Europe is right on our doorstep. The reality is, for most of the countries, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, places we source from, they already have the good oil there. That they know somebody who makes it. They don't need us sending back oil to where we source it from. Now, there are some more Northern European markets which might also be on the horizon, but the immediate focus is getting our US website live and starting to fill the demand that's already inbound.
And clearly at the heart of the business is sustainability, and with scale, there will be increased orders, and then you want to keep that brand and that sense of regenerative farming as well. There's lots to consider. So in terms of choosing the right investor, how have those conversations played out?
Well, we're very thankful that we have investors who do value sustainability and impact equally to the returns that they would hope to see. They've taken a longer term view, and they are really interested in putting their money into things that have a global impact, not just a financial impact. And I think we're lucky in that sense, but the only way that we found them was by putting sustainability and impact at the core of everything we do. So I think there is an element of matchmaking when you're finding the right investor, and we're very thankful that the investors we found really do believe in the impact that we're delivering.
Where do you see the future of the olive oil industry going? Would you like to see reusable glass bottles become the norm, the standard?
Luxury brands are doing a refill format. We were never going to do this without having a refill component to what we do. And the refills are 15 times lower carbon footprint than glass. They preserve the oil almost exactly as well as the glass does. There is a really good sustainability and quality reason for doing it. And now the refills are starting to outsell our bottles in retail, which speaks to, we think, the transition from I've already got the bottle, now I'll continue buying refills. You always think how it will play out, and actually seeing it then, a year and a half, 2 years later, actually translating into the sales is pretty exciting for us.
Dealing with investors is really tough. Businesses need lots of resilience. There's lots of founders out there who are hearing no from investors at the moment. So what piece of advice would you give to them to keep them going?
There's still money out there, right? There are still investors who are still investing. As many no's as I keep hearing and how challenging it is, I'm also still hearing that good businesses are getting funding. It isn't as easy as it maybe used to be. Being really disciplined and having very clear proof points about your business, the fastest way to accelerate those things would be to invest behind them. We talk about how cheaply we acquire customers and how long they stay. We talk about our rate of sale in Waitrose and Ocado and the marketing we've done has accelerated that. We have very clear things where the only difference between 100 and 1,000 or 1,000 and 10,000 is the money put behind those things and scaling them. So the areas of your business that are really scalable are the ones you should really double down on. Maybe that sounds like obvious advice, but it's really the thing that our investors are looking for.
So my last question is about vision. So everything's still going really well. Maybe we're another 5-10 years down the line. You've got the funding you need. What's the one consumer change you would like to see? There's
only so many tastings we can do, and we need as many people trying our olive oil as possible. I think we need more advocates for the quality of olive oil, and seeing it not just something you're going to cook with, not just something you put on salads and sourdough bread, but actually something that can be a spoonful in the morning to aid digestion and reduce inflammation, straight through to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and yes, ice cream for dessert. You know, we talk about that wide breadth of usage, where if you are putting on a lot of dishes, you know, olive oil or high quality extra virgin olive oil is good for you. It is anti-inflammatory. It is good for cognitive health, for blood flow, for lowering cholesterol. Genuinely, I believe that if more people are putting this into their diet and incorporating it throughout their diet, we'd have a healthier country. That might sound pretty lofty, but it is still already in 52% of homes, and that means there's still 48% of homes olive oil isn't in. So there's a lot of room to go after.
It doesn't sound lofty. It sounds like a great vision. Michael, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me on The Backstory.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you.